The board met in closed session on the following items: public employee discipline dismissal release, information only. Conference with labor negotiators Francesca Whitcomb, Executive Director of Human Resources and Employees Organization, Novato Federation of Teachers, NFT, information only. Conference with labor negotiators Francesca Whitcomb, Executive Director of Human Resources and Employees Organization, California School Employee Association, CSEA, information only.
Thank you. I'd like to ask the board for a motion to approve tonight's agenda. I see Trustee Pickus is a first and a second by Trustee Lametta. All those in favor? We have 6 present trustees and 2 students. Thank you. Next, we have the consent agenda. Are there any items that anyone would like to pull or discuss? Okay, thank you. Can we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Trustee Alexander? And a second by Trustee Pickus. All in favor? 6 plus our 2 trustees, student trustees. Thank you. Announcements from the board. We will start with our student trustees.
Good evening. I hope you all had a great break and are ready for an exciting year ahead. Leadership is already hard at work planning some awesome events, and we're looking forward to make this year one to remember. First up, we have the club fair this Friday. This is a great chance to learn about different clubs and get involved in activities around the school. Whether you want to try something new or meet new people, the club fair has something for everyone. Next Monday is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we'll have a day off from school. It's an important day to remember his work, and I encourage everyone to take a moment to think about the positive changes he brought. As for our sports teams, winter sports are heading into the MCAL playoffs. Our athletes have been working hard all season, and we're excited to see them compete. Let's continue to support them as they represent our school pride. In addition to that, leadership is organizing dine and donate events throughout the next few months to raise money for each class, like senior prom. These events will be a fun way to eat at local restaurants and help out our school at the same time. I'd like to shout out some students who were recognized as nominees for the Center of Volunteer and Nonprofit Leadership's Heart of Marin Youth Volunteer of the Year Award. Disha Devakar for her involvement with Marin 9 to 25 and OD Free Marin. Sophie Dempsey for her role as a junior board member with the Sparkle Foundation, and Walt Novosardian, who founded the first ever Disability Justice Subcommittee. Congratulations to them all. Looking ahead to February, we have some exciting things planned. We'll be having a Spirit Week from the 3rd to the 7th, to be determined. It will be fun of activities, and we'll finish it off with a rally to show our school spirit. And for those interested in a winter dance, we've decided to mix things up a bit this year. Instead of a traditional winter formal, we'll be hosting a glow dance on February 7th. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun night with black lights and neon and all that. And a note from leadership that I'd like to share is that when the semester changed, we welcomed new students into the leadership class. We now have 6 Spanish-speaking students compared to last year's 2. We want the board to know that we value the different backgrounds of our students and are starting to think differently about events and how we can include everyone. We're full of steam ahead, starting with Fiesta Ritmica, which I'll provide more information about next meeting. So thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Trustees, Dr. Smith, I hope you all are doing well today. As you may have read or heard, Dr. Liz Seabury is taking a leave of absence as principal of Novato High School. Ms. Cortez and Ms. Green will be our interim co-principals for the remainder of the school year. We have so many updates on a lot of things. So first, PTSA is back in action. The first meeting of this semester will be this Thursday at 7 p.m., and we encourage all families to get involved. For anyone looking to enjoy a meal out while supporting the school, just like our San Marin leadership class, please consider visiting one of our upcoming Dine and Donate events. These partnerships help raise funds for our grade level activities, and we're grateful for the community's continued support. We have on January 15th a Dine and Donate at Panera, January 21st a Dine and Donate at Extreme Pizza, and then January 24th a Dine and Donate at Panda Express. In terms of college readiness, we are hosting a financial aid workshops on January 21st at 10 a.m., and there will also be parent meetings with 10,000 Degrees at 6 p.m. to support families navigating the financial aid process. Looking ahead, we're excited for our Spring Club Fair next Wednesday, where students will have the opportunity to explore and join various clubs on campus. It's always a great way to get involved and meet like-minded peers. We're also looking forward to our Winter Formal and Winter Spirit Week coming in about 2 weeks. And finally, we encourage everyone to follow at NHS Future Plans 2025 on Instagram, where we are highlighting the next steps of our seniors and pathways after high school. From the MCP program, we are incredibly proud of our students for their continued involvement and leadership in several initiatives. The MCP Healthy Buddy program, which launched in the fall, will continue this spring at middle and elementary school sites, including Hamilton, San Jose, and Loma Verde. This program gives our students the opportunity to connect with younger learners, share knowledge, and give back to the community. Another exciting development is the launch of the Emergency Medical Responder course in collaboration with the College of Marin. This course, which starts this semester at Novato, provides students with valuable skills and certifications that will support their future careers. Our career exploration and speaker series is continuing in collaboration with the Novato Fire Department and the Buck Institute, providing students with unique opportunities to explore careers and hear from inspiring guest speakers. And this year, HOSA, the Health Occupations Students of America organization, is opening its membership to all MCP students. HOSA is dedicated to developing future health professionals through leadership, technical skills, and hands-on experiences. Our students will have the chance to compete and attend conferences, which will provide valuable learning and networking opportunities in the medical field. I'm excited to also share updates from our peer resource program. This is a new program that started this year, and we've had an amazing, productive first semester focusing on branding the program and renovating our meeting space, thanks to funding from a school fuel grant. Our training has covered crucial skills like self-awareness, communication, and helping others, which will directly support our peers on campus. Next week, we will be launching our Buddy program, which will pair students seeking more connections with peer advocates. In a few weeks, we'll also introduce peer-to-peer conversations where students can meet with 2 peer advocates to discuss concerns such as school, friendships, or personal challenges. We're committed to fostering a supportive and connected community here at Novato. Our MSA community recently hosted a town hall event, which we hope helped provide valuable information and fostered connections amongst our students and families. This semester, instead of Artist of the Week, we are preparing for senior features, so please stay tuned for more exciting updates on all our artists' work. We're also looking forward to the dance student choreography concerts coming up on January 25th and 26th. These performances are always a highlight, showcasing the talent and creativity of our student dancers. In athletics, this week's game of the week is the boys soccer team facing off against Ham at 3:15 p.m. tomorrow. It's going to be an exciting match, and we encourage everyone to come out and support our teams. Just like the artists' senior features with MSA, we can't forget about our athletes. We will be also having athlete senior features, so stay tuned for that. Additionally, we are hosting a Meet the Coach event during lunch tomorrow for our boys lacrosse team. This is a great opportunity for students interested in joining the team to meet the coach and learn more about the sport. And finally, our Artist of the Week is Ben De Palma, recognized for his exceptional skills both on and off the soccer field. Ben's dedication to the sport and the team is truly inspiring. Of course, all students are looking forward to the 3-day weekend this week, and as Braden said, it's an amazing opportunity for us to reflect on the work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I am really excited to be at my second meeting and welcome in the 2025 year. I had the opportunity to participate in a couple of events coming back. The first was the Novato Chamber event. Building a stronger community is incredibly important across our school district, our business community, our community partners. And Dr. Smith was there, as well as some other folks from the district, so I really appreciated that. And also, I was very, very delighted to attend the CVNL Heart of Marin award ceremony that you mentioned, where students, incredible young leaders, were honored. And every time a student was announced, I think we all cried in the room. The inspiration that was there was incredibly palpable and powerful. So thank you.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everybody. Want to welcome back all of our students and our faculty and our staff. I'm really struck by your presentations. I mean, they're very thorough and really help me gain a sense of what's happening on your campuses, but also really want to commend your focus on diversity and really just creating an inclusive environment. You know, building those relationships and making sure all voices are present is so important. And I think oftentimes there can be a lot of lip service paid to that, but it seems like there's real action that as a community you're taking, and I just want to really honor that, and that's awesome. So thank you. I had the opportunity last week to attend our dual language immersion meeting, which was really exciting. There was an amazing parent turnout, which was great to see. There was a report out on the elementary level, what's happening there, and as well as conversation around our middle school and high school programs. We were talking about what kind of goals we want to set for ourselves as a district when we have kids coming in TK and leaving in the 12th grade. What does that look like for us? And then also conversations around what some different pathways might look like at the middle school level. You know, as we build out our program, I think there's a lot of question marks around like, how can we make this work? And conversations around electives in middle school. And there's a lot of really exciting things happening. So just, it was a great conversation, and cool things are happening in that world.
Welcome back, everybody. Last week I was able to do a site visit with Dr. Smith at San Jose Middle School, which is here tonight, and I was able to see your wellness center, which is going to get great use, I'm sure. Also last week was the Northburn Council PTA and Modeling the Way as well, where we were able to honor two, actually the whole food service fans department at Novato High, the women who serve the food there, we were able to honor them with a Modeling the Way award. And then last week was also JLAC, and then yesterday I did the CSBA webinar, California School Board Association webinar on the governor's budget proposal. So that's the latest that he released that on Friday. So just paying attention to what he's proposed for the 2025 budget, which is the majority of our district's funding comes from the state. So I pay very close attention to that, which all of our board members do. We all do. So we have the COLA is 2.43 right now, 2.43%, which is about 2.5 billion added to our LCFF funding. So that state funding. So that's good news that there's a COLA, and the state revenues are up, but they're also volatile as well, because that's always the case with the state revenues. You just don't know what's going to come in. So we have to pay close attention to that. Also with the impact of the fires, the LA fires, we just don't know what will happen there in supporting them, LA County, and making sure they get their schools back up and running, and what that'll change with the state budget. And also the tax revenue that comes in from LA County, the taxes, will they be delayed, allow them to be delayed in paying their taxes or not? So that has a whole impact on our funding a little bit. So just continue to paying close attention to that. There's some other webinars and other events coming up regarding the budget as we go along. We just get more information and learn more until we finally make a final approval in June. So just paying close attention to that.
So I can't believe that we're heading into a new year. I feel like I just started school, and now we're like on that ramp going really fast pretty soon, and my daughter's going to be graduating in June. So anyway, I too attended JLAC. Always enjoy their presentations, and was happy to hear that things were more optimistic than was originally planned. They expect about $322 billion for the general fund with no deficits, which was $16.5 billion higher than originally projected. There are a lot of bills that are coming forward right now. Some of them relate to the protections for students and families as it relate to ICE. That's AB 49 and SB 48. There's also a bill, AB 2222, about science of reading, to try and pull all of the parties together on literacy and reading instruction and materials. I thought that was interesting because there was a lot of discussion about how kids are progressing with their reading. Social media, another hot topic for our state. SB 937, I've mentioned before, that's related to when the payment of developer fees is done. Ball and Frost are consultants that work with JLAC through Marin County Office of Ed, is actually putting together a data sheet for that that we're going to be able to present and share our concerns on why we don't want to delay in payment, because it means delayed funding to the schools. Legislative Action Day is also coming up. I don't know who's going. I just saw it, and it's on February 26th. So it's where we all go and meet different representatives and our legislators at the state capitol. It's a really great day, and hopefully some trustees or student trustees can come as well. Also enjoyed going to North Marin Council PTA meeting on Friday. It's always informative, and I always enjoy hearing Dr. Smith speak and learn that we are always like right on top of everything that comes through, and in terms of requirements that we must do through the state, but also just because it's in the best interest of our kids. And that would include the new California law to regularly provide screening for reading of students K through 2. So we're ready to go with that. And then I attended yesterday the Budget Advisory Committee, and we got a great overview from Josh and Jeff where we are right now. And it was a really great group of people. So thanks.
Hi, y'all. Happy New Year. I'm excited for this new year. I'm happy to see new faces and familiar faces in the audience. Bienvenidos a los que han venido esta noche a su primera junta. Me da mucho gusto que hayan venido. Feliz Año Nuevo. Thank you.
Yes, Happy New Year. So glad to be back. I participated in some workforce housing meetings at JLAC and got to honor some teachers and staff members with modeling the way.
I am trying not to speak too much just because we've had a lot so far, so ditto. But I do just want to, so I was superintendent up in Santa Rosa, and we had 2 fires during those years. They came in our district, and then we were also affected, that same district, by the 2017 Tubbs fire. So I have a lot of compassion, just like everybody here, in feeling like true empathy for the communities down in Los Angeles right now. And, many of us have connections with Southern California. We know people, but particularly, the school district community around the state is really coming together to consider what sort resources and use what we learned, right, to share down there. To support those district students, families, and that it's not okay. Fires out, things. It lasts many, many years of turmoil and things to consider and trauma. And so, I know that you're all keeping them in your hearts and your minds. So I just wanted to take a moment for that. Whew. I feel like there's not many, I'm not going to say much more. I think that's probably the most important piece, except for that we have another meeting tomorrow night, which is the Surplus Properties Facility Advisory Committee, and that's 6:00 right here. So thank you.
Okay, let's get started we have 2 great presentations tonight. The first will be North Marin Council PTA bringing us the Reflections program, and it's, I don't know if winners is the word, but people who participated?
Yes.
Great.
So let me open this. I think so. And I'd like to invite any student participants from Reflections to just come stand here in front of the board if you're comfortable, so we can recognize you. Do you want to come? Oh yeah, come stand here. Yeah, come stand between me and Dr. Smith. Awesome. All right, so good evening, Dr. Smith, Board of Trustees, student members, and everyone else. My name is Lena Moganum. I'm the chairperson for North Marin Council of PTA's Reflections Art Program. And I'm just here this evening to talk a little bit about our program and recognize our students who participated this year and the students who are advancing in our competition. So a little bit about Reflections. It is a PTA-specific art program. It's been in existence since 1969, and we've had over 10 million students nationwide who've participated. California is at the forefront of this program. We have many PTAs statewide who participate in big ways and small ways. North Marin Council of PTAs, which comprises all the PTAs here in NUSD, last participated in 2019, and this is our first year back in 5 years. So we're super excited to have participants this year and to be supporting this program. Every year has a specific theme. This year's theme was Accepting Imperfection, and I felt like it was such a good theme. It really lended itself towards vulnerability and creativity, and hopefully you'll see that when I go over the different art pieces. Students can submit art in 6 different categories across 4 different age groups, so younger elementary, older elementary, middle school, and high school. And then Reflections also offers an accessible arts division, so any students that have cognitive differences or physical differences can compete in that division against their peers, which I think is really great. And we have here at the local level a little competition, and our artworks that advance compete at the state level, and then winners at the state level are exhibited at our California State PTA conference every May. So now I'll talk about how our students here in Novato participated. So we had 22 submissions this year in visual arts, literature, original music composition, and film production. And we had all age groups represented. So as young as TK, we had a submission, which was amazing. Older elementary school, middle school, and high school. And we had 5 different schools participate. We had entries from Olive, San Ramon, Hamilton, Sinaloa, and Novato High. And we had a showcase here in December, and we had 4 awesome community members volunteer their time to come score each artwork. They were judged for interpretation of the theme, creativity, and technique. And of the 22 submissions, we've got 8 artworks advancing to compete at the state level, and those are the ones that I wanted to highlight tonight. And, you know, I think, like I said, the theme of accepting imperfection really challenges our students to be vulnerable and to say, hey, this is something I'm not comfortable doing, or hey, this is something I'm struggling with. And I know myself, even as a high school student, let alone a young elementary school student, as these 3 are, I don't think I could have put my feelings into art or into words. And so I'm just so impressed by these students and so grateful for this program to give them an outlet to express that. So we will move on and showcase our 8 advancers. So this was our showcase. We had a little welcome table and tried to make it festive. That was just here in the district office. Thank you, Ellen, for helping put this on. It was really nice to see the families and the students come see their artwork on proper display with a little art badge. It felt very professional. The first student I'd like to talk about is Eli Harris. He's a 4th grader at Olive Elementary, and he submitted an original music composition on piano called Pieces. And we have 3 digital submissions that I didn't want to take up too much time and go through them, so I'll just speak about his piano piece. Had different elements in it. It started out one way, and then it kind of went into something a little more upbeat and ended on a really big note. And I thought it was so great considering he's a 4th grader. And he'll be performing this at Olive's Talent Show live, if anyone wants to come see it. Next, we have Eiley Costner. Eiley submitted an original film production called It Takes a Night, and Eiley is a 7th grader at Sinaloa. As you can see from a little screen grab there from the film, it is about ballet dancing. And I know we can all think ballet dancing can be quite competitive. And this piece was about Eiley's feelings about maybe not feeling good enough, not feeling flexible enough compared to peers. And it started with Eiley throwing ballet slippers in the garbage and ended with Eiley dancing to a sunrise. And it was really beautiful. And this is a photo of Eiley at our showcase there with their siblings. So next, Matthew, who is here this evening. Matthew submitted an original film production. He's a fifth grader at Hamilton called Dragon Fight. And this was probably the most fun submission that we had, with, original backing, hand-drawn props as well, and a very cool storyline there. So thank you for submitting that. And that was one of the most enjoyable for me to view. Moving on to literature. So we had this poem called Wabi Sabi from Mika Weber, a ninth grader at Novato High. And what I loved about this was that it was kind of written as a definition and then a poem, which I thought was really beautiful. So I'll give you all a moment to read it. And I just really enjoyed the formatting of it. I thought it was very creative to use a Japanese verb and then go on to explain it in Mika's unique take on the word. Next, we have Aries Istari, a second grade student from Hamilton School with a literature submission called It's Okay to Make Mistakes. And this was in Aries' own handwriting, which I thought was really sweet, but also very deep for a second grader. I myself have 2 second graders, and I'm so proud to know that at that age, they're learning here at our schools to express how they're feeling and express that it's okay to make accidents and that we can recover from them. Moving on to visual arts, we have the submission from Paulette Hunil, a 6th grader at Hamilton. This is called Sports. As you can tell from this drawing, Paulette is a multi-sport athlete. You can see different medals, you can see high socks there and swim goggles. And I just really enjoyed this piece because I myself am not an athlete, but I'm sure it takes a lot to juggle all these different sports, and I just thought this was a beautiful representation of herself and all that it takes to be a multi-sport athlete. Next, we have Callie Kennedy, who is right here next to me, a 4th grader at Olive with her drawing Disabilities or Possibilities. This one in particular made me very proud to have students at Novato schools. I think we're doing such a great job at teaching our kids these days that all of our differences are important. And this artwork is a reflection of that. So great job, Kelly.
Thank you.
Yeah, very proud of you. And next we have Malachi Thompson, who is here next to Callie. This piece is called The Galaxy. Malachi is a 1st grader at Olive. And my favorite thing about this piece is all the colors, and also that in Malachi's statement about his artwork, he said that everything is fixable with a little bit of sparkle. And you can see the sparkles here in his artwork. And I think that that's true not just for art, but in our life. Like, everything is better with a little bit of joy and a little bit of sparkle. So I really appreciated that, Malachi. Great job. So that concludes my presentation this evening. Thank you guys so much for...
We have some little gifts for you guys. I don't know if you can share them with your other artists who are moving forward to the state level, but we have these for you, and we'd love to give them to you and maybe take a picture if you don't mind.
belly flops.
They're called belly flops because they're like abnormal jelly beans, which fell apropos for this theme. Yeah.
Two are stuck together.
Okay, you gotta take the rest of these.
Okay, we're now going to hear from San Jose Middle School.
Of course.
Or to go from each side? Good evening, trustees and Dr. Smith. I want to thank you so much for having us here tonight. We are so excited to present to you a topic that is very near and dear to our hearts this year. I have an amazing team with me tonight. Look at this lineup. I want to introduce them quickly before we get started. I have our two school counselors, our amazing counseling team, Mr. Evan Englar and Megan Kavakovich. Our fabulous students. When I say your name, can you just raise your hand? Olivia, Sierra, Crystal, and Oliver, and my partner in crime, Mrs. Juliet Jones, our assistant principal. I'll let them get started in just a minute, but our topic tonight is about our focus on wellness this year at San Jose. We all share a similar appreciation, focus, love, philosophy about the importance of student wellness, and that ultimately it really does come first and foremost so that we can support our students in their engagement in class and their academic success and reaching their full academic achievement and potential. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to my team to get us started, and then I'll circle back at the end.
Thank you, Ms. McEachern. Thank you, trustees. Thank you, student board members, Dr. Smith, and everyone in attendance. We were really thrilled to open up our Wellness Hub back in September. It took some collaboration with our leadership students to educate students as to what practicing wellness means and also how to learn about wellness over the course of the year. And we did this by creating a really fun video with our leadership students as actors. And they were able to demonstrate to our whole student body on our very first Wellness Wednesday what practicing wellness looks like by accessing our hub for an essential service, which essentially is taking a break. And in that video, we taught students what it means to take a break and why it's important for wellness. Maybe you're feeling a little bit tired and you just need to take a break and refocus. Maybe you need to address your emotional well-being and come in and take a quick break. We supply it with sensory items, puzzles, games, a lot of other fun things to kind of put our minds at ease. And we also have snacks in there because sometimes our stomachs are just as important as our brains. And it's also really wonderful as a school counselor to utilize the hub because I get to bring students into the hub who wouldn't otherwise refer themselves for a break and introduce them to the hub. We also utilize that for mediations to kind of address student conflict when that comes up. We also use it for our parent conferences and group meetings, and that includes SSTs, 504s, and so it's super helpful to bring families into the hub and introduce them to what Wellness Hub services look like at a middle school level. So I'm going to pass it on to two of our wonderful leadership students, Olivia and Sierra, to speak to their experiences utilizing the Wellness Hub.
The Wellness Hub has helped me a lot this year because when I feel stressed during the school day, I know I have a place I can go to take a quick break. This has allowed me to refocus myself and return to class with a fresh mindset. The Wellness Hub has helped me calm down during the school day. It has lots of resources that I utilize when I take breaks, such as fidgets, games, snacks, art, coloring, comfortable seating, and talking with a counselor when I need to. It gives me the reset I need to return to class to feel ready to learn again.
Thank you, Olivia and Sierra. So we have been so fortunate to bring wellness to San Jose at a Tier 1 level as well. Last semester, we launched what we called Wellness Wednesdays, and every Wednesday, students engaged in a 30-minute SEL, which is social emotional learning block. And we utilized the district-approved curriculum, which is called Second Step, and we created counselor-led lessons to supplement this curriculum. In September, we did a counselor-led lesson introducing wellness, as Evan Engler mentioned, with an emphasis on building community and spreading kindness. And in October, we aligned with the Bullying Awareness Month and utilized Second Step curriculum to provide weekly lessons around bullying and harassment. In November and December, we implemented second step lessons on developing a positive sense of self and a counselor-led lesson on gratitude and values. In December, we also made our way into the 8th grade classrooms to give a lesson on high school preparation, and we provided resources for our 8th graders applying to specialized programs for next year. So in addition to Tier 1 classroom lessons last semester, we also had the opportunity to coordinate and deliver school-wide wellness-related activities at lunchtime. These activities have all been created with the influence of student voice, some of those who are here today. Our SGMS leadership class designed a wellness committee of students who found interest in collaborating with us counselors to create school-wide wellness-related activities. The Wellness Committee has been a monumental force in executing these activities, and we are so grateful to continue collaborating with them this semester. On the slide shown here, we have provided a brief overview of the activities that we implemented last semester. Our student representatives next, Crystal and Oliver, are going to briefly share their experience in supporting activity-based wellness on campus.
We are part of the Wellness Committee in our leadership class. We help plan wellness-related activities during lunch to promote wellness on our campus. My favorite activity we planned last semester was organizing a space for students to write gratitude grams for each other. Then we passed out all the gratitude grams to classes right before Thanksgiving break. It gave students a chance to express positive feelings they have toward each other and spread kindness.
The Wellness Committee is helping to build a positive school culture. I really enjoyed planning Unity Day, which was during October's Bullying Awareness Month. We put together a big banner that all students could sign. Signing the banner symbolized a student's pledge to stand against bullying. We also had an orange face paint so students could go to class proudly showing their involvement in Unity Day in a fun, artistic way. I feel like this activity built community and represented our school-wide views against bullying.
This is the part that I'm really excited about. Our data this past fall, utilizing our hub has been tremendous. Thank you. I always have issues with the microphone here. 19% of our student population this past fall utilized the hub. And that's great for us because when it comes to Tier 2 intervention in schools, you want to typically target 15 to 20% of the population with a service or an intervention of some sort. And with the way that we educate our students on how to utilize this, they have agency in determining when they want to utilize that Tier 2 intervention, which is wonderful. This 80% here, that represents, well, our regular users of the hub. 80% of our top 10 users were able to increase their GPA between grading periods while utilizing the hub, which is awesome for us to see. The 97% is even better to see. This is according to check-in and check-out data. So when students come into the hub, they check in so we can gauge how they're feeling, and they also check out. And according to the 288 matchable entries, 97% said that they felt better upon leaving the hub, which brings us to be really concerned about the other 3% who said that they did not feel good leaving the hub, but we're closely monitoring them. Thank you.
I just want to draw attention to under the 80%. Student A had an increase in GPA from 2.67 to 3.33, and then we have another amazing Scorpion who, through building specific coping skills and visits to the hub, this student was able to increase their GPA from 3.16 to 4.0. That was just a really incredible piece of data that our counselors were able to pull. So moving forward, what's next for us at San Jose? Keeping this amazing team supporting our counselors. The collaboration with the leadership class is something that we hope to do year after year. And again, getting that student voice involved and understanding really what the students feel they need to be engaged and reach their full academic potential. We are actually shifting our Wellness Wednesday approach to attempt to dive into more tier one. So with Wellness Wednesday, it was a block each week that was dedicated to lessons. And our end goal is that ultimately this is just part of what we do every day in every class without a specialized schedule. So the Wellness Wednesday block was really great just to get us started. And so our hope is that the counselors can start to push into class periods. We can start to take the temperature of different classrooms, different class cultures, see what's going on, and then really be proactive in how we're supporting our students with our wellness in the classroom at the tier one level. We have some tremendous support from our PTA represented here tonight. And so we're partnering with our PTA this spring, and we'll have our first ever wellness fair at San Jose Middle School, ideally a wellness week with concerted effort on one day in particular where we'll have a fair. We're in talks about having dogs there and all sorts of activities for kids to enjoy. And then ultimately the really eye on the prize at the end of this road is that our students feel like they can arrive at school and have that like invisible toolkit, right, with their coping skills that they need, so that ultimately maybe they don't need to visit the hub as often and they feel like they are able to really engage in their learning, practice those coping skills that they've learned, and we'll start to see a shift in some of our academic achievement data because students feel safe, they feel included, and they feel like they've built the skills that they need to be successful in class and engage. Look at all these cute faces. We'll end with this slide and then any questions that you might have with that, for us this evening.
No questions, but I just think it's wonderful. And I really love the activities that you highlighted. And I actually was thinking great things to share with other sites as well. I'm at Novato High a lot, and just a lot of really creative and clever things that you guys came up with. So good job.
I think we've already started a process collaborating with our counseling teams at other sites, and we know that the high schools have an amazing focus on wellness and wellness hubs. So I think we're leaning on them a little bit too to guide us for our wellness fair. So it's a great point. Thank you.
First of all, thank you so much to the students for coming and for helping and contributing and also sharing your experiences. I think that really helps us understand what it's like. And also I appreciate the attention to data, mostly because it's a conversation around like what's working and how can we really meet the needs of our students, and your Wellness Wednesdays, how that's evolving. We want to make sure that this is working for the students and the classes, and it's really doing what we want it to do. So I love that you're seeing great results, but also still asking questions about what we can be doing. This all just sounds really amazing. So thank you.
I'm really picturing like the pipeline, right? Kind of the wellness pipeline in terms of middle school. Like how many of you are eighth graders? They're all eighth graders, right? So if they end up going to one of our public schools, high schools, then they will also be able to carry their wellness experience forward. And the superintendent student advisory committee last week, we delved into the wellness hub at the high school level, and we met with the wellness specialists, and they gave a lot of input on how to improve kind of destigmatizing wellness and mental health concerns and how students can access, and this is a great start at a younger age. So thank you.
Thank you guys so much for coming and participating. All of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience. Yeah. Thank you. One. Okay, we're now on to non-agenda public comment. We have one comment from David Hernandez. Please join us at the middle. Oh, in one moment, you'll come to the middle microphone. Public comment is available for 3 minutes for anyone to come and speak to us about any topic that is not on agenda. We are not at liberty to respond to those items just per the rules of these types of meetings, but we are very happy to have you. David, please join us.
and assaults going back to December 2022, and again in March, April, and November of 2024. They described hospitalization, months of no responses, and made pleas for the lives of their children. Indifference from the board. At the April 2 meeting, just after the description of assaults at Novato High, the board applauded a presentation by community liaison. This board did not think it important to ask if community liaison was aware of the serious assaults described at Novato. On September 24th, teachers from Novato and Loma Verde told the board they do not feel safe. On November 12th, mothers described racial assaults in San Jose with no response. Right after, this board received a presentation from the Wellness Hub group. Again, no questions about how the Wellness Hub impacted racial tensions at Novato. We know from a December 8th IJ article that black students from San Marin and Novato felt the need to meet with Assemblymember Connolly over racist incidents. This board has not bothered to explain or justify the gross difference in response to a minor incident at Sinaloa on Friday, May 29th, involving white students when compared to the lack of response to the many serious assaults described by Latino mothers. For the Sinaloa assault, police were called, private security guards were hired, students were arrested, and a community forum was called, all by Tuesday. Using privacy issues to obscure the lack of action does not change the fact of inconsistent treatment of students. Why no explanation? Parents and teachers from Loma Verde, San Jose, San Marino, and Novato will be frustrated and may be angry to know that the comprehensive school safety plan for their schools, as required by state law, said this: assessment of school crime. Novato High School has conducted a thorough analysis of the current status of school crime and crimes in school-related functions. The most significant school crimes that have occurred on the school campus are related to minor graffiti and vandalism issues and theft. The text for all the schools is the same. The County Office of Education and the California Department of Education has refused to investigate the district's response to racial violence, saying the district is responsible for oversight over itself. Thus, this board and administration are left as fully accountable for the school safety climate. The January 9 IG editorial said the TAM school district failed to protect students with prompt and effective action. It's an important expectation that school officials and policies are in place and followed to protect youth from abuse. From what is on the public record, it can be said that this school district has violated Title VI by acting with deliberate indifference to racial harassment and assault and ignored many signals that greater, more directed action was needed. This board has dismissed parent and teacher testimonies of assaults and bullying as, quote, lots of narratives that there are all these fights and amorphous things. The effect on students is real. And you should consider that individual board members and district employees can be open to individual liability. The key questions will be, what did you know and when did you know it? It's all in the public record. You have vowed that the board's primary responsibility is to govern the district with awareness at all times for the needs of all students. Why not start doing that?
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Our next item is 12A, Staff Report, Food and Nutritional Services Update. We have Cody Williams.
Thank you so much for having me. My name's Cody Williams. I'm the FANS Food Service Director. 2025 is my 30th year in food and hospitality. Thank you very much. 12th year in child nutrition programs and my 5th year here in NUSD. I started in September of 2019, 5 months before COVID. So on this first slide, this left photo is a picture at Pleasant Valley as an example of the variety of produce that we serve in our schools every day at breakfast. And then the middle photo is an example of cut fruit that we take pride in providing the students both at breakfast and at lunch. And then the right side is the renovated kitchen, which was a bond project at Pleasant Valley for service. I'm going to do a little update before I jump into my slides. It wouldn't be right to go into food service without talking about the food. So here's some update of some new dishes that we've introduced over this year, and we will be showcasing as we go into the second half of this year. Carnitas with rice and beans, cheese pico de gallo, which we buy fresh, thank you very much, tortillas, and today Hamilton made guacamole for that dish. Mandarin chicken with rice, teriyaki chicken with rice. We're not using any more plastic bowls. We're going straight to compostables whenever possible. Beef, meatball, marinara, mozzarella breadsticks, chili chips and cheese. I got an email from a fourth grader requesting chicken wings. I've been wanting to introduce that dish for a while, and I said, sure, let's try it. So in about 6 weeks, we'll test that dish in elementary. Beef or shredded chicken tacos or tostada, beans, pico, and sour cream. All of our burgers are 100% beef burger, and we serve it with local Marin cheese, company cheese. Pesto chicken sandwich. All chicken is raised without hormones or antibiotics. We serve clover milk, and in most cases at elementary right now, we're doing bulk milk as an option for students. A new dish that's coming up is a breakfast sandwich. We're gonna do, for Lent, fish sticks with in-house tartar sauce, a local salmon burger, which I'm excited to test and serve. All bread is delivered fresh each week. And on Monday, and at the secondary sites, we use Basque Bread, which is a local bakery in Sonoma. All of our apples and pears and citrus when in season are organic and come from Sebastopol when in season, including heirloom tomatoes, which is pretty cool to serve at schools. Cherry tomatoes, regular, Romas, you name it, and they all come from an organic farm in Russian River Valley. We work with local co-ops with our bids and procurement. We partner with, we offer approximately 40 different fruits and vegetables every day on our salad bar. All food purchased include clean label ingredients, which is something I take pride in. And as observed and reviewed from the Lifetime Foundation grant, with a score rating of 85+% of all of our food served in NUSD post-pandemic. When I started, the menu and the service was at 55% back in 2019. We're doing 700 more meals a day this school year, every day and every month compared to the prior year's month. And a little bit about our budget. 2021, we did 4.8 million. When I started in 2019, the budget was about 2 million. We've tripled about the volume of service that we're doing. I'll talk a little bit about staffing in a minute. Then we did 22-23, 5.2, 23-24, 5.2, 24-25. This school year, we're projected to do about $5.8 to $6 million. We're separate from the general fund. Typically, the way that child nutrition food service school programs are broken down in the budget is 45, 45, 10. So 45% food costs, 45% labor, and 10% other. So here, with a $6 million budget, 2.7 million is the average for a sustainable food service program to serve in their food costs. 2.7 million, we're trending towards that target. 45% staff is $2.7 million. And we are at that number with a little bit of wiggle room because I factor in the next 2 years of COLAs. 10% other is about $600,000 for just general operating expenses. We currently have a surplus of 12 months in our department. Prior to the pandemic, we could carry a 3-month average, and the state moved it to 6. So we can carry a 6-month rainy day carryover fund, which gives us a cushion so we don't enter the general fund. And we have a plan to spend down the remaining 6 months. So what we do, we have 3 front office staff, 3 warehouse staff, 37 site staff, and a department total of 43, doing each and everything they can every day to support students' needs and try to please everybody at all times, which is actually keeps us engaged. We have an emphasis on freshly prepared meals in-house at all sites and local procurement. We try to be environmentally friendly, using compostable products and we want to work towards introducing the concept of reusables. Bulk salad bars, as I mentioned, with a wide variety of offerings daily. I mentioned the volume of the budget increased. We've spent $800,000 in equipment purchases over the past 3.5 years, including $250,000 in new vehicles. In our final year of spending one-time COVID funds, we got a surplus of about $2 million, which inflated our balance sheet. And we're spending strategically so that any foods that we introduce, when the excess funds go away, we don't stop purchasing them if kids enjoy them and they eat them, which is important to us as well. And we're closing the gap to be balanced. And we did a student survey, thank you for the assistance, in November, focused on students' growth and student-driven services, and we're entered a CDE spending agreement for the excess funds, and we have a kitchen equipment project that I'll talk about. So our student survey, we surveyed 3 to 12th graders. We had approximately 2,000 students responded. Some of the questions that I'll share tonight, what meals do you eat at school? Majority of them responded with breakfast and lunch. Are you satisfied with the foods offered? 70% responded with yes and sometimes. And they gave us some good feedback of additional dishes they want to see. How would you rate the way the foods look? 85 responded, looks good and okay. How would you rate the customer service of the kitchen staff? 3 being the highest, 90% rated it 2 to 3 stars of being the highest, which is appreciative. And then what would you like to see more on the menu at lunch? Some of the top trending items were Chinese, Hispanic, Italian, and pasta dishes. Kitchen equipment upgrade project. Of the $800,000 that we've invested back in our sites, we've done everything we can. We've got great support from the district and the bonds and facilities department on upgrading, renovating our sites. There were a few that were not included, and we're looking to solve that problem here. And the 5 sites that we've identified are Olive, Lou Sutton, and Rancho. San Ramon had a partial, and Hamilton had a partial. There's still some areas of investment we can do there. Of the money that we've already invested in the equipment, because these sites are grandfathered in and haven't been through that process, we have done everything we can to upgrade the equipment and area, but anything that I were to do on my own would trigger health department code violations, which would create a bigger process. So I've been really slow and strategic in doing this basically self-funded through our department so that we can reinvest and get support to go through the proper protocol with architectural renderings. So at least 70% of the project will be funded by our department. But when I go into equipment, it's going to trigger us getting those sites up to code. The code that they're in is fine right now, but a lot of the codes that are now written, they want a certain type of roofing, a certain type of lighting, types of flooring, particular walls. They want us to redo the windows. They want us to redo the doors. And some of these sites will be part of a facility master plan. I would assume the district will be assessing in the future. So we're going to buy us some time, do as much work as we can, and invest these money back into these equipment. Before I mention the equipment, I'm going to jump back to staff real quick. Of the growth that we went through, we never added one additional staff to our department. We assessed the hours that the staff were working, and we provided them full benefits and more time in the day to get their job done and provide the best service to students. So we gave it to them and support them so that they continue to stay engaged and feel appreciated and valued. And our labor budget has doubled during that process. So the upgrade to the equipment includes double convection ovens and stoves. In order to cook pasta in schools, we need to have stoves properly installed, and that would help us to serve an equitable entree across the district. Proper hoods and fire suppression over the stoves and makeup air. Hot hold service counters so we can serve food straight to the tray at these sites for students. And a pass-through dishwasher, which will help ergonomics and reusables. And then electric roll-up doors. The 3 sites that I mentioned haven't been touched since the 60s. So that means when my mom went to Lou Sutton back in the day, not to date her, it's basically relatively the same. So we're looking forward to accomplishing this project over the next probably year and a half. Thank you so much.
Comments or questions? Okay, Trustee Gaston, go ahead. I'll go on.
I just want to say thank you. I actually get excited when I hear you present, and I've had the opportunity to hear you at the Eco-Friendly Committee and all the things that we're doing. And I'm so glad that you can share. And actually, believe it or not, he only touched on a little bit of all the good that we're doing. And so it's super impressive. I think one of the things for me is a priority is that whatever we can do, we obviously want to serve great food to our kids and have a room and be happy and want to eat it. And which, by the way, my daughter actually eats lunch now at Novato High. She would never touch the food. So she's enjoying all the good stuff that you're doing there. But some of the things that you've mentioned in the eco-friendly committee meetings includes things that will make us more efficient and actually probably save costs in the future. So I'm a huge advocate of all of those things that are going to make life easier, make things better, and then also in the long run be a cost savings and at the same time help with the environment, like having actual silverware versus disposable stuff. So I really appreciate the direction that you're taking it, and also learning, which I didn't know about the staffing, that you've maintained the staffing and they're doing a great job. So thank you for all that. And my last question for you is, do you know where I can get eggs? Because I couldn't find them today.
Holy moly. I went to Trader Joe's like in the morning yesterday and it was like packed, and I just passed by there this afternoon and it was empty. So I think it's about timing.
Okay. Well, I do have chickens that are like starting to lay, but they're just not fast enough. So yeah, I just thought it was funny because Whole Foods had been pretty good, but this guy held a dozen of blue eggs, and he was walking around asking people if they were the same as regular eggs because it was the last thing. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. What is bulk milk?
Dispensers.
Okay.
So they have their cups.
Mm-hmm. And then, and maybe you don't have the answer to this, it occurred to me. Do you talk with site admin around anything that you bring on? Like, I think about reusable items, which I think is so great, but I also know what happens at lunch at the middle schools is sometimes a little dicey, and like, how would that go? So I would just say, if you're ready to implement that, maybe like find out what they think.
Yeah, I don't do any changes without consulting
Awesome.
stakeholders.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and then I wanted to just share that I got to greatly appreciate you last year when I helped the 8th graders at Sinaloa go on a pool day. And it was phenomenal the way that you had lunch prepared for them and packaged up. And it was so incredibly easy, and I greatly appreciate it. So thank you for all the things you do.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, our next item is discussion action 13A. This is the acceptance of the 23-24 Parcel Oversight Committee Annual Report.
That's not for us. Well, don't sit down. You're coming right back up here. Good evening now, trustees and Dr. Smith. We're bringing to you today asking your approval for the Parcel Tax Oversight Committee's annual report. And to present that is 2 of our committee members from the Parcel Tax Oversight Committee. I'll stand over here.
do this with glasses on. Okay. Greetings, trustees, student representatives, and Superintendent Smith. Barbara Granicher and I are 2 of the 6 current representatives of the Parcel Tax Oversight Committee. We are here to present you with the 2023-24 Parcel Tax Annual Report for your review and approval. This report is the result of collaboration between the Oversight Committee and Finance Department staff who provide information, respond to questions, and explain the process of school district accounting for revenue and expenses specific to the parcel tax. We are especially grateful for the work of Anne Marie Paparelli, who was able to transform data and information about parcel tax contributions and spending into a report that provides clarity and confirmation that our tax dollars are being distributed as promised. The responsibility of the Parcel Tax Oversight Committee is to inform the public about the expenditures of parcel tax proceeds as per Board Policy 3471.1. A report to the board should be issued annually. The Parcel Tax Oversight Committee met on October 16th, 2024, December 11th, 2024, and on January 6th, 2025, to review all 2023 to 2024 expenditures related to the parcel tax. The Parcel Tax Oversight Committee found no issues with expenditures during this reporting period. Today, we are presenting you with the actual annual report. The committee and staff ask for your approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Trustee Butler?
Yeah, thank you for preparing the report. And I like the format of it. It's really nice. It's nicely done. We've seen a lot of them come through over the years, and this one is probably one of the best ones I've seen. So,
Anne Marie,
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
We
Nice.
contribute questions and ask her to change things around for content, but that design and implementation is all her.
Great, thank you. My question is the number of paid parcels. Is that, maybe this is for Josh? It looks like it's gone up a little bit. Are we maintaining? It looks like it's kind of sitting at the same number, give or take 100 or so.
Yeah, exactly. There's not really anything special going on, but I would like to just share a real quick anecdote. I think probably one of you must have talked to him, but we had a gentleman that came by on Friday last week, and we will be bringing to this board a new form because he said, I previously have been approved for a parcel tax exemption, but I would like to start paying my parcel tax now.
Wow.
So that's wonderful, but we realized we don't have a form for that. Right. So we
that's an unusual
like,
request.
You're the first one ever. So yeah, the number of parcels does change over the years, every year, but it does look like it's trending up because the parcel tax per parcel amount has been the same since at least 2008. And we are seeing the revenues go up slightly every single year.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you. I actually was just reflecting. I think I've been involved with the parcel tax off and on for over 20 years. My daughter's going to be 18, and that was before I had kids. And so I've had an opportunity to see the different committees and be a part of them. And I would have to say, sitting with you all the last couple of years has just been really wonderful. We've had great people on the committees throughout, but you were all really connected, and in terms of how you work together, and the different perspectives and everything within what was presented. It was so thought out and very specific on what they wanted to see. And I would agree, Anne Marie did really well in capturing those elements. And so everything you find here, there was purpose and intent. Not that there hasn't been in the past, but it was very much thought through on many levels. And I really appreciate actually getting a chance to be a part of watching you guys do the work, and just really appreciate it. So thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Tina and Barbara. I think we both met, or I met you both at the at the Parcel Tax Blue Ribbon Committee, and you both were so excited and bringing new ideas, and I really appreciate you guys serving in this committee. And I have to agree with Debbie. I like the visuals, and I love that at the bottom you guys compared other school districts like in a different way. So I think that when I saw that, I'm like, oh my God, like it changes the visual in your mind. So thank you so much for all the work that you both are doing.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. We need approval here, if anyone would like to move to approve. Trustee Lametta, thank you. And a second by Trustee Alexander. All in favor? 6 plus 2 student trustees, wonderful. Okay, our next item is, 13B, acceptance of the 23-24 audit annual report. That feels out of sequence. Annual audit report?
Yeah, it's all of those things. So yes, today we're talking about the audit for 23-24. And of course, we publish unaudited actuals. Why are they unaudited? Because the audit comes right after that. And that's the last piece of the audit. Then we do the financial report and they look back on the previous years. And here's some, the main highlights are going to be the good and the bad, right? So the first thing is the good. And that is that the audit was completed on time. This is the first time in a while, not our district alone, but throughout the state of California. School districts dealing with COVID and dealing with all kinds of different horrific problems that have happened over the last few years. Extension after extension after extension in the audits. This was the first year that no extensions were granted, and we actually didn't need one. We were able to submit on December 15th. Christy White and Associates, who has been our auditor for a little while now, they came to their evidence that they obtained says that the evidence was sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for their audit opinion, and the opinion is listed right below, which basically says that there is no reason or cause for concern that our books and accounting principles align with generally accepted accounting principles. Here's some more good. There are no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in the financial portion or on the process portions of the audit. So as you go through the audit, there's like it's a 10,000 series, 20,000 series, 30,000 series, and each one of those is a different kind of section of what we do in operations throughout the district, and they were all fine. There was also no repeat findings, which is great. Last year, we had the California Clean Energy Jobs Act, and I made a big statement about how we are trying to do everything we can to submit this report, but the CDE refuses to accept this report. They accepted that report on June 28th, 2024. So I had 2 days left before it was going to become a repeat finding, but there was no possible way we were going to let that become a repeat finding. We got that submitted. It is now off the books. It is done. So that is great news. We do have a new finding for 23-24. And so this is 2024-001, and this is an internal audit function. And this is a finding saying that as a fiscally independent district, we require an internal auditor to be hired by the district. Funny enough, right before we got this report, and the auditor is doing their job, they're calling this out. This was true in 23-24. We did not have an internal auditor. But on December 17th, we passed a resolution ending our fiscal independence. So going forward, that is our corrective action plan. We're not going to hire an internal auditor because we're no longer fiscally independent when we go live with the frontline escape system with MCOE. The auditors accepted that as a management response, and we believe CDE will accept that as management as a management response. With the approval of this report, there's also an additional document that should have been in your packet. That is the what is it called? Certification of corrective action that says exactly that. So with the approval tonight, I'll sign that corrective action and we'll submit that to MCOE to say that is our corrective action for this item. I did get the question, and I would like to talk about it real quick about, okay, we've been fiscally independent since 1980 something, And why is this now coming? Why is this coming up? And there's certain people smiling at me. Trust me, more than just you asked this question. We have to remember a couple things. Number one, we've used the same audit company, but we don't get the same auditor every year. So those auditors have specialties that they look into. They also have they get something given to them by CDE that tells them these are the things you're going to check on this year. And they rotate through a bunch of things. Now, can I say why it's never come up over the course? Of course not. I think that was absolutely overlooked. And there's probably a lot of those auditors that have no idea what fiscal independence is because it is so rare. But I will say that why did it not come up last year and it came up this year? It might be something that is on that audit guide from CDE this year that said you have to look into this. That wasn't there for the last 5 or 6 years. So that is a potential one. And why on certain years you see things pop up in the report that might not show up in previous years. Either way, I think that's a pretty good looking audit report to have only one thing and have already solved it. So with that, I ask for any questions and then of course approval of our 23-24 audit.
So thank you for offering that explanation. I recall that sorry, I don't think I've ever called you President Jacobson, had asked before about why we continually use the same auditor. I'm just curious if there's been consideration, because I think to your point, I think sometimes they have their comfort zone or what they're looking. It's helpful to understand that CDE has its own list, because I think that would explain a lot too, if these are the things you're supposed to be looking for. But I'm just wondering, I apologize, I don't remember why or what the outcome was of why we continue to use the same.
Yeah, so before, basically right before I got here, so coming in, the audit for the 22-23 school year, we signed a contract for 3 years with this audit company. I think I've heard now in 2 years of audits that there is a want from this board to make sure that our auditors are doing their job. And the best way to do that is to have another audit company come in for a block of time, usually 3 years. And it is a best practice to go 3 years on, 3 years off, and switch between like 2 audit companies and go back and forth. That is something that we will be doing. This is the second year of that contract. So next year, they will be auditing this current year, and then we're out of contract and we can go shop around, I guess we'll call it.
Thank you so much. I just really want to appreciate the competence of you and your team and the attention that you've put into getting these results. They're quite commendable, so thank you. You stole my first question, which was how often do you change your audit firm? So I think I understand that now. And then the second one is just a quick question about the CDE's December 15th date. Is that the extended filing date or is that a normal filing date?
That is the normal filing date. Like last year was extended to February 28th. Which is what I was referencing earlier. December 15th is the I guess we'll call it in code guideline.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, if we don't have other questions, we'll take a motion to approve this. Trustee Alexander, seconded by Trustee Pickus. Thank you. All in favor? 6 + 2 student trustees. Thank you. And our next item is 13C. This is the approval of resolution number 11-2024-2025, declaring Novato Unified School District a sanctuary district. We have Superintendent Smith.
Do I have that? It's not used. Oh, that's right. Sorry.
All right. So one of our goals one of the goals of bringing this to you tonight is to be able to declare Novato Unified School District as a sanctuary district. And it would include this resolution. This resolution embodies basic law, basic board policy. We've talked about this in December, kind of what our policy is in terms of how we protect our youth when they're on our students when they're on our campuses, and some of the legal parameters around this. And naming it is really important, right? I don't know that the world is watching us on YouTube here, but I do believe that regardless, right, it's a signature item that carries much importance for our community. And I've just heard from many people, how are we supporting everybody in these uncertain times around immigration law enforcement. This particular resolution is the same resolution that's being adopted at the vast majority of school districts in Marin County within this month. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. Please bear with me, just because I think the words are worth reading. It's not true for every resolution we bring. Sorry, Josh. Whereas the Novato Unified School District, NUSD, is committed to fostering an inclusive and equitable educational environment where all students, staff, and families feel valued, safe, and supported. And whereas NUSD affirms the inherent dignity and worth of every individual, regardless of their immigration status, national origin, ethnicity, race, religion, gender identity, or sexual orientation. And whereas public schools have a legal and ethical obligation to provide all children access to education as guaranteed by California state law and the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Plyler versus Doe, 1982. And whereas NUSD believes that immigration enforcement activities and discrimination in or near schools disrupts the learning environment and undermines the trusted safety necessary for students to succeed academically, socially, and emotionally. And whereas the Board of Trustees recognizes the diversity of NUSD as one of its greatest strengths and seeks to protect all students and staff from discrimination, harassment, and intimidation. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of Novato Unified School District declares NUSD a sanctuary district, affirming its commitment to create a safe and inclusive environment for all students, staff, and families, regardless of immigration status. And be it further resolved that the district will not collect or disclose information regarding the immigration status of students, staff, or families unless required by law, nor will it facilitate or cooperate with federal immigration enforcement activities in any way that is not mandated by federal or state law. And be it further resolved that the district shall provide training for staff and administrators on the rights of immigrant students and families, as well as on best practices for maintaining safe and inclusive learning environments. And be it further resolved that the district will collaborate with community organizations and legal service providers to inform and empower immigrant families and provide resources to address their unique needs. And be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees directs the superintendent to take appropriate steps to implement this resolution and communicate its principles to the entire NUSD community.
Any questions or comments? Yes.
Not anything specific, but just felt like wanted a show of support. I really appreciate living in a community, not just in Novato, but in Marin County, where the values that are listed in this resolution, reflect our community, and that we really want to take care of our extended family and our community. So I just really appreciate you bringing that forward, and I'm happy to support it.
I just also want to say that our job is to educate students, and all of this, the things that people might be concerned about, are not of our interest. We only care about students and their families, and that they are supported within our educational system. Okay, we need a first and second, and then we have a roll call vote. Trustee Lametta, thank you, with a first. Second, Trustee Alexander. Trustee Alexander.
Aye.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Gasson.
Aye.
Trustee Jacobson, aye. Trustee Lametta.
Aye.
Trustee Mack is not here. Trustee Pickus.
Aye.
Thank you. Our next item is 13D. This is the approval of resolution number 12, 2024-2025, authorizing filing of applications for state allocation board administrated programs.
because the last item was so serious, I will not make a joke, even though that's against my nature to make jokes and to hold my tongue, but I will. This resolution is definitely a business straightforward resolution. Prop 2 was approved by the voters of California through the last election, and Prop 2 offered a lot of financial ability for school districts to upgrade, modernize, rebuild, but it does come with quite a few restrictions and requirements to be able to utilize those funds. This is very, very similar but slightly different to the reimbursement dollars that we already get for our bond. Okay, so think of it like that because that's how it operates, but it's now a adjacent program. So because of that, it comes with its own rules. The thing is that the California legislature has not defined those rules yet. So in the Prop 2 language, it says that you must have a 5-year facilities master plan. That is a normal requirement for when a school district goes out for a general obligation bond. You have to have a 5-year plan. So they're putting that in there. The thing that they haven't defined, what does that plan need to look like? What is sufficient? Can I just write it on a piece of paper? In the next 5 years, we're going to do X. Well, the legislature will come out and tell us what that needs to look like. But until then, that could be 6 months from now, a year from now. We have projects that are ongoing currently that qualify for this, for these dollars and for these funds. So to be able to apply for those funds, we have to put forward a resolution saying, as soon as you tell us what a 5-year facilities master plan looks like, we'll go do one. That's this resolution now, here. Remember all this stuff because the next resolution coming up is almost the exact same thing. But this resolution number 12 is specifically talking about we promise if you give, hey, state of California, if you give us the money, we promise to do the 5-year plan as soon as you tell us what it needs to look like.
Questions, comments, or a motion? Trustee Pickus?
Just a question sort of tangential to this because it is another report that our district will be filing, which brings me back to Dr. Smith. You spoke a couple board meetings ago about an effort with superintendents and other places advocating to the state a consolidation of the number of reports that districts were required to put forth. So that just sort of reminds me of this. And is there, I can't remember the specifics of the comments you made, but I imagine this will be tied into that. I'm just sort of thinking about your previous comment about your bajillion reports that you are creating.
It's not just me, but the staff. Yes. And I think that report's supposed to come out March 1st. And of course, like since they said they were going to look at all the reports, there's probably another 10 that have been added. Mm-hmm. So it's an ongoing process. So I don't have an exact information according to this report in terms of how it gets in there. But this part of this is the normal part of doing business in the business department. However, yes, it is more work. I think we'll get a lot of value out of it. But we do need to do a facilities master plan.
It fills a lot of different needs for us. This one, I would consider this one slightly different than those other plans, even though it ends with the word plan. Because unlike those ones, this one is done kind of once. And then over those 5 years and really up to 10-ish years, you can just add on to it and keep having it evolve, and it can be a living plan. And then at some point it gets too far away from the original idea. You need to start over. Our last one was in 2016 with the Measure G bond. So when we did that bond, we did a facilities master plan. We're now almost 10 years on from that. We also went through COVID. How we look at classrooms has changed. Educational needs have changed. So updating that plan is not really where we want to be. Not to mention, that bond was incredibly successful and we did a lot of those things. So now we need a new one to also say, well, if we were to go out for a bond, what would we really like to have in this district? So it's answering two very big questions at the same time. What do we need to do now and what would we like to do in the future?
You just reminded me of something. So I actually was part of the facilities, I think it was facilities oversight, which evolved into the bond committee or whatever. And so I'm thinking, you know, I forgot to mention earlier that we were looking for people to be on the budget advisory committee, but might be something in that to like start looking at the community to further input, because it was very valuable for me. I don't remember if I had kids or not at the time, but anyway, I think it's just a great opportunity to just include the community in a different way and to see what's going on. And I really am looking forward to seeing our plan going forward. So thank you for that. And was anybody else, because I can make a motion to approve unless anybody in it.
Okay, I hear a motion from Trustee Gasson and a second by Trustee Butler. Thank you. If there's no other conversation, all in favor? Oh, it's roll call. Sorry, thank you. Trustee Alexander. Aye. Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Gasson. Aye. Trustee Jacobson. Aye. Trustee Lametta.
Aye.
Trustee Mack absent. Trustee Pickus.
Aye.
Great. We have one more roll call vote item, also brought to us by Joshua Broff.
Yes, and this is the second half of that. So just like I had said earlier, first of all, the first part of that, exactly the same thing. They need to define some things in the language, and this resolution helps address that, and that's why it looks very similar to the last one. The big change here is that it's authorizing King Consulting to go and apply for these dollars on our behalf. Which they already do for the reimbursement dollars. But like I said, this is a new program with a new set of rules, and we just want to make sure that we don't get a year and a half down the line and then all of a sudden the legislature says, wait a second, they weren't approved to file this on your behalf back in 2025, right? So putting this in now addresses that potential issue that may never come to pass.
Questions, comments, motion. Thank you, Trustee Butler with a first and a second by Trustee Gasson. Roll call vote, Trustee Alexander.
Aye.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Gasson.
Aye.
Trustee Jacobson, aye. Trustee Lametta.
Aye.
Trustee Mack absent. Trustee Pickus.
Aye.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Our next item will be brought to you by me. This is 14A. This is a discussion of board committee assignments from January 2025 to June 2025. With the turnover of trustees, we have open committee assignments. Trustee Alexander has agreed to taking on past Trustee Millerick's assignments. If you would just confirm that verbally for me.
Yes.
Thank you. And so we will move forward with that. Thank you so much. Our next regular scheduled board meeting will be held on January 28th. The 28th. Thank you. We do have a meeting here tomorrow, but we will be closing the meeting tonight in honor of two individuals that I'd like to just speak on for a moment. Rich Gerhardt served the district for 28 years in multiple positions, including principal at Sinaloa Middle School, San Marin High School, Olive Elementary School, and Lusutton Elementary School. He retired from Novato Unified in 2011. And Greg Nell has been an educational advocate and school official for nearly 2 decades. He served 17 years as a trustee for San Rafael City Schools, and the past 2 years he served on the Marin County Board of Education. In 2015, he was awarded the Golden Bell Award as a Marin County School Board Trustee of the Year. We're closing the meetings in their honor. Thank you.